Hey everyone, I am the Chosen One Legend here, as always joined by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kai, also known as Vascarine.
And welcome back to the BunchaJokahs Podcast, where we talk all Nintendo news from the past month. And sometimes we branch out into other consoles too, because guess what, Kai? I got me
What's
a PS5 this month.
Ooh, big flex.
I'm just straight out there, you know, our buddy Sam, he's a scalper, he got me one for a couple of Kit Kats, the usual deal. But,
Standard.
otherwise, just get lucky on Amazon. But, it's been an interesting month for me then, playing games-wise. I have too much crap to talk about. How's your month been, Kai?
Yeah, been pretty good. Been looking at a couple of different games and that sort of thing. It's been fairly active this month. You know, you wouldn't think it because E3's coming up, but we've had a fair bit of news, right?
Yeah, we have. There's sort of been the E3 build-up of a few people starting to get the ball rolling. So we have quite a few stories here to talk about. If you're ready to get started, Kai.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll just quickly remind everyone that you can, of course, look in the description below for timestamps if you want to hop about between the different sections. But without further delay, we'll get on with our first segment of the podcast. Can't have a podcast without news, baby, where we talk about the past news, the news of the past month. And to start things off, this isn't really news, but I wanted to fit it in somewhere. And that is that Castlevania Season 4 dropped on Netflix. Now, Kai, I don't think you've watched any of this.
I've watched a bit of Castlevania.
Oh, you have?
I believe I've watched like some of Season 1 and maybe 2, I can't exactly remember.
Well, Season 1's only 4 episodes long, and Season 2's only 8 episodes long. So you might have
probably watched... Yeah, I'm probably partway through Season 2 then in that case.
What did you think of what you watched?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I found it really interesting, based on like, you know, what the games are like and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was pretty enjoyable.
I can only say things get crazier. Particularly, I think the end of Season 2, or Season 2 in general, is probably the strongest season overall. But 3 and 4 bring in some really fun stuff, and particularly Season 4, I think was quite strong. There's some beautiful animation and action. It's the final season, so it brings a nice conclusion to everything. And if you're into like massive violent action, you're gonna get a lot of it. So
yeah,
would definitely recommend. It's just not for the faint of heart. Even I have to cringe away at some of the violence in it. So
okay, interesting.
It's good fun though. Definitely would recommend it. But moving on to some actual game news, Nintendo announced something called Game Builder Garage or Garage. Garage? What do you think, Kai?
What, of the pronunciation or the game itself?
the pronunciation first, one step at a time.
I don't know, I guess I'd call it a garage, but either one goes.
Asking the important questions. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. But Kai, what do you think of the game?
I'm very interested to see how far it can go, because, you know, these like make-your-own type games, it can be very hit or miss. They're either really good software to use, or they are like, you know, very limited. It can go either way. This one, I'm interested to see what they do with it, because there's potential. It reminds me a little bit of WarioWare DIY, which was a game for the DS and Wii. But yeah, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking there's loads of different options that they've given. But how far does that go? How much freedom do you really get in this? So before I want to like say it's really good or it's really bad, I want to see what people have made possible with it first.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a tough balance. It's a tough balance to get for creating this kind of game, because you want to give people, on the one hand, you want to give people lots of options to create some crazy stuff, but on the other hand, if it's too complex, you turn people off the game. It's sort of like your difference between something like Dreams and something like Mario Maker, and why something like Mario Maker did so well is because it was accessible, but you could also... You didn't have the full depth of something like this. So it'll be interesting to see when reviews come out, because it's coming out June 11th or 12th, quite soon. So it'll be interesting to see what the reviewers think of it. I personally don't think I'll pick this up, just given how many games there are to play. But it's an interesting release for them, and I'm glad they're doing something like this.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting one. I probably won't pick it up myself either, but I'm interested to see where it goes, for sure.
You can stick to RPG Maker guy.
Yeah, I've got over 1,000 hours in that by this point, so...
Oh boy!
Yeah.
But
I'll stay with that.
Our next piece of news, also from Nintendo, is that some updates on Skyward Sword HD coming out next month, is that it's getting a Zelda amiibo of her and her Loftwing, which essentially it adds a feature where you can fast travel from anywhere in the surface, including in dungeons, straight up to the sky and then back again to the same point. And this has been getting some controversy about it to do with locking quality of life features from the game.
Right.
First of all, I want to hear what you're thinking about this, Kai.
Well, I'm not too clued up on Skyward Sword, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends how much it really it helps, because I don't feel great about them locking it behind an amiibo, because I really understand that. But at the same time, it's like how big of a deal it is, because a lot of games have had amiibo where they help you with quality of life. It's just a matter of how far do they take it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been preparing to rant about this for ages, and I don't mean about the amiibo itself.
Okay.
I actually think the amiibo's fine, and this is my main reasoning. It's not even really a quality of life feature. It's a game-breaking feature.
Okay.
At least I think so. So the way I sort of see it is that the game, at best, it's never necessary, because the game has frequent points to return to the sky. It's never difficult, and in the middle of dungeons, you can't return to the sky from them, but there are save points in there. So you're never locked out of something or in a situation where you really need to. And at worst, it kind of breaks the game, because just being able to, in the middle of a dungeon, quickly pop out, grab a load of potions and return instantly back where you were, that's kind of cheesy, you know?
That does sound a little broken. Yeah, that sounds real broken, actually.
And I get, like, some other Zelda games you could do similar things, like with Twilight Princess, there was a way you can warp out of the dungeon. But in those games, you can't save mid-dungeon like you can in Skyward Sword, so it just really seems very cheesy. Even if I had the amiibo, this is never something I would use, because the points to return to the sky are designed in a certain way, to be fair, and to make you play the game a certain way. You know, it just sort of breaks the flow of the design, being able to warp up anywhere, I think. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I get the whole point of locking stuff out of the game, and if they locked something like quicker Loftwing, you know, like the Swift Sail in Wind Waker, if they'd locked something like that behind an amiibo, that would be kind of dumb, because that's something that people would want for the game and would help a lot. But no one was complaining about this before it was announced as an amiibo. If it had released with no one knowing about this, it would not be a complaint. Like, you know, there are things they should fix, like the imprisoned fights, for example, but it's just really not a big deal. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'll be interested to see what more people think in the comments, because I've heard a lot of people complaining, but I just think it's such a... Even if you wanted it, you're going to have a fine time about it. It's such a nothing feature. But,
Right, okay.
I don't know. I've been holding that rant up for a while, so it's nice to vent it out. It's feels good.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, no, it brings up the topic, though, in general, of, like, you know, are more features in games going to be locked behind things like Amiibo, or like things that happened in the past, that sort of thing, so...
We do
it's
know
an interesting one to look at, for sure.
Yeah, we do know for sure this is the only Amiibo that's going to be compatible with the game, or so they've said. So there shouldn't be anything else. I'm more interested to see what changes there are in the game, because I agree, I think, because the fact it's charging full price for it, there should be some more changes just beyond better graphics and button controls, and I hope there are. I mean, I'm a suck up for Skyward Sword. I'd get it for 100 quid if it was like this, because I'm just a suck up. But I hope to see more changes. Maybe we'll see that at E3. Time will tell. But let's move on to something, Kai, that you're going to know more than me about in this situation, because Ni no Kuni 2, the Revenant Kingdom Princess Edition, has been confirmed for Nintendo Switch. I'm going to let you take this one.
No, I've actually never played Ni no Kuni 2, but I've read a lot about it. I looked a lot about it on launch, so I wanted to be clued up on the game.
Yeah.
And I honestly, like, even though I haven't played it, the main reason was just because I didn't have download space on my PlayStation.
Fair.
It's, to be honest, like, Ni no Kuni 2, from what I've seen, looks to be a very good game. One of the main drawbacks and one of the main issues I had with it on launch was that it's not... How do I say it? It's like comparing Xenoblade 1 or 2 to X. Like, it's the same series technically. There are some things that overlap, such as, you know, the art style was very similar but upgraded. You've still got, like, your fairy companion, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of changes between the two games, such as familiars aren't a thing. Like, the combat's been completely reworked. And the majority of people would say the combat is now better, which is a fair point. The story is completely different. I'd say it's probably a lot worse, to be honest. It's a bit boring. But overall, with a lot of the extra features, quality of life and everything like that, Ni no Kuni 2 is a very good game. It's honestly really good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this being on Switch, because it gives me an excuse to buy it now. You know, I'm definitely going to pick it up because I've wanted to play it for a while. Adam Howden is in it, so that's always
nice.
a plus. He's one of the playable characters. So I'm just really interested to see, especially just with like a lot of the features that are in the game. There's one of the main things is like the city builder that you unlock partway through the game, where you know, like, make a city over time. So I'm really looking forward to experiencing the game for myself, because yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
But is Platoon in it? The real question.
I don't think so. I actually don't. I honestly don't know. I don't think I've ever checked that.
I guess there's only one way to find out.
Necessary. I can't exactly remember what the deal is with it being a Prince's edition, but I believe there was like a King's edition on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So this is like that, but slightly less of the bonus bits. But you know, I'm pretty happy with it either way. To be honest, I think it's a really good one to port over to the Switch. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I should still try the first one sometime. Too many games.
You need to.
Too many games. I'll tell you what, Kai. I'll try it when you try out Dragon Quest, which links us into our next story, because segues.
Segue.
I know, right? There was a Dragon Quest presentation in which they showed off a few little things, some Japan-only stuff, which you sort of expect, but probably the biggest ones are that Dragon Quest XII has been confirmed. Pretty much nothing known about it, but it's coming. And Dragon Quest III is getting a remaster in the style of Octopath, the 2D HD development team. And it looks really nice. I've only played Dragon Quest XI, and I'm not usually one for the more traditional style, because, you know, Dragon Quest XI gets rid of random encounters, for example, mostly. Yeah. So it would be going back to a very traditional game. But the art style works so nice for a Dragon Quest game. What do you think? Did you see any of this, guy?
Yeah, I looked at bits of it, and I thought it looked good, to be honest. I don't have too much to comment, because I'm not too clued up on Dragon Quest, but I thought the remake looked nice, yeah.
Yeah, and 12, I don't think like platforms and that have been confirmed yet, but if they can keep up a game as good as 11, I am sold. Not to mention more puff puff, and that's what we live for. So,
God, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm really, really interested to see about Dragon Quest 12, because when they showed off the logo, like the fire and all that, I thought,
look dark.
I feel like they're gearing up for something good here. Like,
yeah.
I just got that feeling instantly that this was going to be something really good and really different. So I'm going to be avidly looking at how that develops.
Definitely, it may have just been a logo, but it set the sort of tone for. It almost seemed a bit more mature and intense or something. So I don't know if that's necessarily.
You know what it reminds me of?
Oh, go for it.
You know what it reminded me of? You know when Smash Ultimate was first announced?
Yes.
You know, the fiery logo. It just reminded me a bit of that. Like, whenever you have a logo for a new game announced and it's just like carved in through fire, I think it's great every time.
Yeah, it definitely sets precedent there. So I am looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Maybe we'll see more at E3. I kind of doubt it. I feel like it's further off, but that would be nice.
Yeah, it'll be a little further away.
But it wasn't just Dragon Quest that had a presentation ahead of E3, because so did Sonic. And they confirmed, again, a few things, a sort of mixture of merchandise and TV stuff, but the biggest ones were a new Sonic game confirmed for 2022, and Sonic Colors Ultimate coming to all consoles in September. Do you have any interest in picking these up, Kai? What's your Sonic fandom like?
Well, I've not played too much Sonic, but I have played Sonic Colors before. I actually have it on the Wii. I've got through like halfway through the game before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's good. You know, it's after all, it's just like a 2D platformer, but I think it's one of the better ones out there. So I'm interested to see how it translates over to the Switch and that sort of thing. Yeah, it should be really good. Yeah.
I'm just bitter we didn't get Sonic Heroes port. That's it. I just wanted Sonic Heroes Ultimate. It's pure nostalgia.
That would be sick.
But granted, Sonic Colors is a game. It's one of those ones as a kid I kept meaning to pick up. I'm like, oh, this looks good, a Sonic game. I like Sonic, he's alright. But just never got around to it. And now this is basically, I think it's only like 30 quid as well, which is not bad for a new release. It's like, even if it's a port. So it's definitely something that's like, yeah, this may be the perfect time to jump in. As I'll get to later, I've got so many more games on the horizon that I'm not sure I'll squeeze it in, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on at least. And Sonic,
absolutely.
I do want to quickly mention that some details have leaked about Sonic 2022. I don't want to go into them here, just in case people aren't interested in leaks. But what I will say is, it doesn't look like a continuation of the boost formula, or an adventure free. It seems to be an entirely new route for Sonic. Hopefully this one works for them, because they have not had a good track record with 3D Sonic recently. So
yeah, hopefully it goes well. I'm looking forward to seeing if it does well or not.
As long as it's not Forces 2, it should be all good. But speaking of massive mistakes, this one is just so funny.
Sonic Boom?
Wait, what was that?
Sonic Boom? Is that it?
There's plenty to go around from Sonic, Kai. We could spend all day here listing Sonic mistakes. But not Sonic this time. This was on Nintendo, because they accidentally released the Age of Calamity expansion for free.
Right.
Basically, they it was the day that the pre-order or the expansion bonus released. But whereas that's meant to be something you just get when you buy the pass, you could claim it for free just on the eShop. You could view it there, and if you did so, it now thinks you have the full expansion pass. So anyone who claimed it now essentially has the expansion pass. Someone's getting fired for that.
Yeah.
Goodness, I still...
Someone else is making a profit from it, and that's all of us.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's all... To clarify, it's closed now, so you can't claim it anymore. But, and I haven't checked recently, but as far as I'm aware, anyone who claimed it, it still says they have the expansion pass at current. So surely they've got to fix this somehow. I doubt that everyone's going to get it out. Like, maybe they'll be able to keep the pre-order bonus. Maybe they can't do that easily, but surely.
We'll see. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
We will indeed, because if not, damn.
Yeah, I'm guessing you picked it up as well, right?
No, not Nintendo. I didn't pick it up. Love us, Nintendo. Yeah, we're good boys and girls. Yes, I did. So
I was going to buy it anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great.
And I can't lie. They absolutely should fix it, and so no one could complain if they do. It'll just be interesting to see how they carry it out and what steps they make, because they haven't said anything yet. They've been quiet, so...
Yeah, maybe they'll just brush it under the carpet. Depends how much loss they really had from it.
Yeah, there was apparently a mess-up a while back where... I don't remember the details of it, but Captain Toad was on sale for like £4, when it was meant to be full price. This was a while back, and apparently people who were able to nab it kept it. It wasn't like reversed or anything. Slightly different situation, because they still paid actual money for it, but maybe it will end up being kept. Time will tell. But
yeah,
I just feel bad for the people who bought it the day before that. But
yeah,
But I think that about brings us to the end of our news segment. So let's move things straight on to our next segment, Games Time, baby, where we talk about the different video games we've been playing throughout the past month. Kai, first up, how many games have you got to talk about here?
I have 2.
2, okay. I've got too many, but I will try and balance them out. So I'll start things off. No. 2 hours later. But I will hopefully start things off well with my first game, which technically I played 90% of it last month, but I finished it this month, and that is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. Now, I never got the original because apparently it's awful, but this one has been compared to the likes of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It was on sale for £6, so sure, I'll pick it up, and I'm glad I did because it is really good. I mean, straight up, it's a Donkey Kong game, basically. If you enjoy Tropical Freeze, you're going to love this. It's got David Wise doing the soundtrack, as well as Grant Kirkhope, who did Banjo-Kazooie, so that's a match made in heaven. The level design is solid. The platforming's a little bit different to Donkey Kong. It feels a bit looser, but the game's built around that, so you can really build up momentum really well to speed through levels. You know, there's collectibles to find, really beautiful environments, and it's just a really perfect package. With one exception I'll get to in a little bit. But I think the main thing that separates it from something like Donkey Kong, though, is the overworld, which is where you can access levels in the form of chapter books, and you solve little puzzles to access new levels. But not only that, you can solve puzzles to create a second variation of every level. For example, in the overworld, you might divert a river through one of the chapter books, which turns a normal town level into an underwater level, for example. And all 20 levels have a variation, creating 40. Some of them make it icy, turn the entire level sideways. It's ridiculous, but they're all fantastic.
Wow.
So, honestly, good. I would heartily recommend it. The only thing is, the titular part of the game, the Impossible Lair, which is the final level, is garbage. Straight up bullshit garbage. To the point where I have not... Impossible? I mean, I haven't beaten it, so basically, yeah.
Well, that's why they called it that then. You can't beat it.
Well, I mean, granted, it is called that, so I should have expected it. But the whole idea of the Impossible Lair is you can try it from the start. But throughout the game, what you do is you collect these bees who give you an extra hit point in the Impossible Lair. So by the end of the game, if you've got all 46 bees, you've got 46 hit points. The idea is that the Impossible Lair then becomes more possible. Except it doesn't, because it's not great level design that doesn't work with the controls of the game, just a mash of obstacles thrown together, and it's so bloody long. I'd done 50% of the way through it, and I'd had to fight this one boss fight 3 separate times in that 50%, on top of all the platforming sections between those fights. And I was only halfway through it. So,
goodness.
Yeah, it's... I mean, maybe I'm just being salty because I suck at it, but I've beaten Celeste 100%. I can do hard games. This was just really naff. So just go into it expecting you may never beat the Impossible Lair because it lives up to its name, but the rest of the game is still worth it. So it's a great time overall. But Kai, what have you been playing that's hopefully more possible?
Well, on a bit more of a light-hearted one, I've been playing recently Rhythm Heaven Fever, which I did on stream. I didn't talk about this last month, did I? Just checking.
I don't think so, so go for it anyway.
Okay. So I've played it through on stream a couple of weeks back at this point, and honestly, it's such a good game. It's a very weird one because it's simultaneously a really relaxing game. You want one where you don't need to really, be too hardcore about it. It's just let's just chill and play it. But at the same time, it requires a lot of concentration because it's a rhythm game.
Yeah.
And so it's I'm just going to chill and play this, but also put 100% of my focus into it. It's a bit of a contradiction. But regardless of that, it's a really, really fun game. It just seems so innovative how every single level has its own rhythm to teach you that you then do for the level, Remix is a great where it puts them all together. Of course, Remix 10 is really good.
Yes.
And just so many like catchy tunes, and like the character designs are great. Overall, it's just like a really solid game if you want to pick up something that's like not too long of a game, but you can keep going back to it because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the music's such a bop. I think it's Remix 9 that keeps coming up on my YouTube recommendations now. It's the Persona-like one. I had to say it, you know. Yeah. But it's the Persona so good. One. Yeah. Always got to be a Persona one. But I really enjoyed...
The music's really catchy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching your streams of it. And I don't want to give a full segment to this, but I played a bit of Rhythm Heaven DS this month. And still great. I mean... I need to get the later versions, though, that don't have blooming touch controls, because that can mess you up sometimes. But otherwise...
You're just bad at the game.
1v1 me, Kai. 1v1 me in...
I've superbed all of them on DS.
In second thoughts, don't 1v1v. Just take my word on it.
Some of them are grueling. Like Moai Duop, but most of them are fine.
Yeah, it's still fun, and I definitely want to try out the later ones. Hopefully, we'll get a Switch one, so... Great series.
Yes, I really hope we do. I Hole in One 2, by the way, is goated. It's the best one.
That is great. I use that.
So good.
I might use that audio in this bit of the podcast. Actually, I've got it saved to my computer from a previous podcast. So
that was Hole in One version 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kai.
Hole in One 2 is the best one. It's a sequel, duh.
Version 2 then. I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
We can't all be Rhythm Heaven experts who get superbs, okay? It's
yeah.
Can't all be done.
Take those skills over to Wii Music.
Yeah. Always. But for me, the one of the other main games I've been playing, which is another game I picked up on sale. I swear I'm not entirely a cheapskate, I just like sales. But I picked up Tales of Vesperia on the Switch. Because I've sort of been wanting to play an RPG. It's been a little bit. By that I mean it's been a few months, but I like RPGs. And it's really, really good. Honestly, I'm so glad I picked it up. It's an action RPG. It's an older one from like 2007 or something. That's sort of been slightly remastered for Switch and modern consoles. And you know, it does show its age. But at the same time, it's just really great. The combat, it's so weird that you're in these arenas, and you can move around in 3D space, but when you're locked onto an enemy, it's almost like a 2D fighter in how you fight them. Because you've got your standard attacks that you can input into different directions, and you can assign special attacks to different inputs as well, which do more powerful strikes. So it's in that way, it's kind of a bit like a 2D platformer fighter. But at the same time, it's very much like a JRPG. You still have your MP, you have your HP, you've got your party members fighting with you, and some of their moves are less attacks. They're like, healing your party, buffing your party, etc.
Support stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And the way, at the start of the game, it's really difficult when it's just you. And I honestly thought I didn't like the combat at first. But stick with it, because the moment you get your second party member, who's a healer, it clicks into place. And the combat's just really satisfying and a lot of fun to play. And not like anything I've played before. When I say 2D fighter, it's very slow paced still. Don't expect a Smash Bros or anything. But the way it mixes that sort of style of combo hits with JRPG elements is really satisfying. And I think the best thing about yeah, it's definitely, if you're ever interested, I'd definitely say it's worth looking up gameplay of one. And the best bit about it is absolutely like the story and the characters. I mean, I say the story, the narrative itself is pretty basic. It's pretty chill. You're mostly just trying to follow a thief for most of it. There's not really big stakes at the moment. But you sort of build up more lore, and it's more about the characters themselves, who are, honestly, one of my favourite casts of a JRPG cast ever made. It's really a really strong cast. Okay. And held up, of course, by great voice acting. But just from the start, when you've got your main character, Yuri, and who's sort of your rough guy who lives sort of in the rougher area, is trying to help the little guy. It's a bit sarcastic. And then you've got Estelle, who's a noble and is very sort of proper and unaware of the ways of the world. The sort of banter and dialogue between them, you've got little heart-to-heart like things, you've got your battle dialogue, and of course the cutscenes. It's so charming, and it really brings it to life. And every extra character you meet after that just continues the trend, so it's really a really charming cast. I would wholeheartedly... I'm not finished it yet. It's sort of been slowed down by other stuff happening, but I would definitely recommend it. Especially if you can get it for like 10 quid like I did. So, Tale's good.
Oh wow, yeah, in that case.
Yeah, exactly. Can't argue with that price.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, really fun game. I'm really enjoying it. But what else have you been playing, Kai?
Whoa, you're saying about charming casts. Well, I've got a real one here for you. I went through and replayed Torna: The Golden Country from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I've never heard of that game before, Kai.
Oh, you haven't heard
Explain
of
it to
Xenoblade
me.
Chronicles 2 for the Nintendo Switch?
I have not heard of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the Nintendo Switch.
I could go through the entire history of the game, but you know, if we were to do that chronologically, we would start with Torna, taking 500 years before the main game.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've just got to say, like, oh, it's so good. You can really tell like what upgrades they made from the main game.
Yeah.
The cast is so good. The cast is actually amazing.
Love Adam. Adam is so great.
Honestly, yeah, like, I think my favourite characters might actually be from that. Like, I can't even say, because I think, like, are there any I don't really like? And that's none of them. Like, I really, really enjoy every single one of them.
Yeah.
So whereas I'm normally in these games looking for one character being like, when are you going to have your moment? For this, I'm looking at all of them, and they're all having moments, and it's great. Like, and people are like, oh, what about a Gion? He's not very interesting. I love a Gion. Don't diss my guy. He's
great.
He's like one of my favourites. But yeah, no, like, I think probably my two favourites from Torna in particular are probably, I think Haze is really good there. Like, definitely got the justice deserved from what happened in the main game.
Yeah.
Where she wasn't really around for much. But yeah, it was really good in this. And then I also found Minoff really interesting this time through. I really liked Minoff because he's a cool guy. But I feel like in a lot of the side quests in particular, he adds input. And I feel like from a story perspective, he's a really interesting character. I would have loved to have seen like fleshed out more in like a main story. Because he talks... It's very interesting when he talks about, like, you know, being a Malthus's blade and... you know, like being a flesh eater, one of the first ones, and that sort of thing. I think all of that, whenever he talks about it, was super interesting. So I would have loved to have heard more. So the cast was amazing. Music, of course, slaps, as it always does. The battle theme is amazing.
Good jazzy stuff.
I really enjoy like Gormot's remix as well.
Yes.
And Oresco is of course a really good area. All the areas in general were really fun to go through again. The gameplay differences, oh man, the gameplay differences were good too. Just like being able to switch in and play as the blades were really fun. Recoverable HP, putting on orbs with every single special. You know, like things like chain attacks and orbs being much easier to put on. Just the entire thing felt really, really smooth. And I managed to go through 100% the game, so, you know, I beat all the golden monsters. I upgraded everyone's arts to level 5, including rearguard and vanguard arts and switch arts and everything. Went through and did everything, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was really good.
It is great. I mean, I replayed it just last year, and I still, hearing you talk about it makes me want to replay it again because it's so good. And
yeah, it's amazing.
I really love Malos in Torna. He's so much fun, but...
He's
a
sassy guy.
He is. And so's Mithra. They've all got the sass and it makes it great, so... Torna good.
It is good. That's about it from me though, but I've been playing through the main game, but I'll talk about that next month because I've not completed it yet, of course.
Sounds good. Well, I only have one collection of things to talk about. I'm going to try and make it quick because it's really hot in the room I'm in. I'm basically a human popsicle at the moment. But,
okay.
Of course... I got a bit distracted from Vesperia because I got a PS5 now and there's a lot of games there now. So I even just today I just subscribed to PlayStation Plus and there's like 23 games of it, like God of War and Persona, and oh god, I don't have the time in my life. But to limit, and there's a few things that I've bought that I'm going to be focusing on next month, like Final Fantasy VII when Intergrade comes out next month.
Right.
But I want to talk about two main things that I did try out this month. First of all, Genshin Impact, because people would sue me if I didn't, that we know.
Yeah.
Granted, they might be mad at me anyway, because I think it's just fine.
Oh no, you're gonna get crucified.
We are losing subscribers. You can see the subscribers just dropping down right now from our community. But it was good. Honestly, I think it is good. I enjoyed what I played of it. And it's just one of those things where I started it and I'm like, this is fun. But then when it comes to like the next day picking the game, I'm like, I'd rather play other stuff, you know? It's still really good. I can see why people love it so much. But I always said in the first place that I didn't think it was a game I would get addicted to. And I think it's just there's other things that I'd rather put my time to. It definitely feels like a mobile game. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't mean it even in the way of gacha stuff, because I didn't really play enough to get to that kind of thing. And I'm not someone who cares about getting the one true waifu in the game anyway, you know, I'll take whoever I get. But
right.
But it's just the way the game handles and feels and inputs work in that, it feels different to a console game. And you can kind of tell. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think based on that, it just didn't grab me in the way it did others. So I'll probably end up sacrificing it to download space for another game at some point. But I still think it's alright.
Okay.
Please, if I just disappear partway through this recording, Kai, you know where I've gone, to the grave. But talking about things that I did really like, actually, though, was Astro Bot, which is another free game because it just comes free with your PS5. It's a little short platformer that's a tech demo of the controller and a sort of celebration of PlayStation history. And it is so great.
Okay.
Like, it is the way it shows off the haptic feedback of the controllers, something which I was sort of like before, yeah, it's HD Rumble, sure, sounds interesting. But when you play it, it really does work well with things. Like, you're tilting the controller and it's meant to be a spring, and you can sort of feel the spring moving with you. There's all these sort of different ways to it. At some point it starts raining, and you can sort of feel the pitter-patter on your hands as the rain comes down. Yeah.
That's insane.
There's one bit where you're walking through like this, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but you're walking into this big blow of sand coming at you like a sandstorm. It's from like, because it's all themed around a PlayStation, so it's coming from the PlayStation fan in the game. And then you can feel the sand pattering out your controller again. It's really interesting stuff.
That sounds crazy.
it honestly, it is so much fun. And I've yet to see how well other games use it, because I technically don't own an original PS5 game yet. So, but besides Astro Bot, but it worked really well in this. And outside of that, it's just a really solid, fun platformer. From the little references, you know, I had the PS2 and the PS1 growing up, so seeing sort of the references to them was really cool. It has one of the areas just has this whole bopping song about GPU, sung by the GPU in the game. And it's better than any song about a GPU has any right to be. That's a weird sentence, but honestly it is. So it's just a really fantastic game, and like if you manage to get a PS5 and you get it with something like Spider-Man or Ratchet and Clank, don't skip over this just because it's a free game. It is genuinely fantastic, and I'd like to see the team make a full game like this, because it is the perfect way to show off the PS5.
I would get a PS5, but there's no... Well, the main reason is there's no Elder Scrolls. But also, there's no PS5s. They're not in stock.
That's also true. I honestly, I got really lucky with an Amazon drop. The best recommendation I can give to people who are looking is make sure you follow one of the like PS5 stock places on Twitter. There's a UK one that I was looking at, which helped me out. Then you just got to be there for the drops, refresh and hope for the best. Even... Because when I added it to my basket and checked out, it said it was out of stock. I reloaded and somehow got one, so just keep plugging at it and hope for the best. But hopefully it will become easier to access at some point this generation. I'd like to think so. But Bethesda-wise though, Kai, I didn't actually mention this as part of the news, but I will quickly mention. They're doing a E3 presentation that's co-tied with Microsoft. Which maybe not the best sign for getting one for the PS5, but you never know.
Yeah.
Would
it'll happen eventually.
out of curiosity, if it was exclusive to Xbox Series X, would that make you pick up an Xbox?
What, to play Elder Scrolls 6?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I probably wouldn't buy it, just to be honest, because I have literally no other use for it. I'm not going to pay what is effectively like 300 plus quid.
Yeah.
Just to play Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I want the game, but I don't want it that bad. Not exclusively for that one game.
Yeah, that is completely fair.
Yeah.
But then again, if they show it off, maybe it'll tempt you, Guy. So.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have a lot to talk about next month, though, aren't we?
Oh yeah, we have E3 coming up, and the only reason we didn't talk about predictions is because we did that in our last month's podcast with our friend Tom, Be More Duck. So if you haven't watched that video, go watch that for our E3 predictions. But I think it's suffice to say we are both very excited.
Yep, we got the E3 presentation on Tuesday the 15th.
Yep. 5 PM UK time.
And yep, so that's pretty good. We're going to be filming a reaction to that, right? We
will indeed do a reaction video.
Okay.
That will either come out that evening or the next day, depending on how bothered I can to edit it. So do stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. Yeah. I say exciting. Like I said, my wallet's going to cry, and my free time is going to cry because holy crap, there's so much stuff, and I don't need more. But I still want more anyway because I'm greedy. So looking forward to it.
One thing to note with all of that actually is because they said that I found it really interesting. They said that there was going to be 3 hours of gameplay being shown in Nintendo Treehouse afterwards.
Yep. Yeah.
Which implies we're going to have a lot to see. Now, what I honestly think is that at least an hour or an hour and a half of that is going to be Splatoon 3. Like, straight up, I think they're going to devote a lot of time to showing off Splatoon 3's changes.
You think so?
Which
when that's the next year game.
Yeah, that is true, actually. I still think they'll do something with it. I don't know. 3 hours, though. What do you know, I feel like there's going to be some big stuff announced if it's 3 hours worth.
Yeah, if they do like an hour on each game, they usually show off Pokemon in those, so probably an hour on Shining Diamond or whatever it is.
Of course, yeah. Brilliant.
Other than that,
Pearl.
Yeah, other than that, it might just depend on what's shown off. I hope they don't. I hope they don't show off like Skyward Sword because we already know what that game is. We don't need them to, but they might. I know what they're like. They might.
Breath of the Wild 2, maybe. Imagine.
Oh, I could
maybe
honestly.
Not, but
I could see it. I mean, they showed off. They showed it off at E3 2016 when it didn't come out for a year and a bit. So
yeah,
we could get a similar thing here where it comes out next year and they start showing it off now. So it's gonna be interesting. It's 40 minutes long, the main presentation. So we gotta be some good stuff in there, and should be good fun. But for now, I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. So thank you so much for watching. And Kai, where can people find you at?
They can find me at my house. No, not my house. Don't go looking.
I'm just going to drop your address online. It's alright.
Oh god. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Vascarine. Link will be description and wherever else.
Yeah.
Still just playing through some multiplayer stuff and some random bits. However, I will be starting Metopia soonish for stream, so hopefully that'll be a good interactive one.
And he could use some me recommendations, so
I could
check
actually,
it out.
Yeah.
I will quickly mention that I don't plan to start streaming regularly, but I did stream the other day on my twitch.tv/TheChosenOneLegend because I can do that through the PS5. So if you want, you may see me play Uncharted there on occasion, but don't expect it with any regularity. But other than that, we've got to, of course, give a huge thanks to Sam, our graphic designer who works on the thumbnail, all the logos. He's been doing it for a year and he's not dead yet, so hopefully he'll keep at it. And of course, thank you to you guys for watching. And of course, please continue to watch us either on YouTube. You can also listen to us audio versions on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts under the name BunchaJokahs. And yeah, we'll have our E3 reactions coming out soon, so look forward to that. But until then, we hope you have a great month, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.